If he's the man with the plan and the guy you hire in a crisis, why won't he table a budget before he goes on summer vacation?
I understand the member of the opposition is very busy, didn't have a chance to study closely the 100-day plan of the former member from Ottawa, Carleton, which did not include a budget.
They must be really afraid to come clean with Canadians if they're going to punt it off into the fall. But, Mr. Speaker, with the throne speech yesterday, Liberals have effectively admitted that it was their policies that caused the suffering for Canadians.
Canada's new government, Mr. Speaker, is acting immediately to grow this economy, one Canadian economy out of 13 nation-building projects.
Remember that last spring? That was newly minted Prime Minister Mark Carney in his first question period facing off against Andrew Scheer in the House of Commons. Now, we got that matchup because Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre had lost his long-held Ottawa riding in the last election. The long-awaited head-to-head, though, should be coming back on Monday when Poilievre is back in the House of Commons thanks to his by-election win this summer. So, should we expect fireworks? Let's ask our front bench. Sabrina Grover, Melanie Paradis, Carl Boulanger, and Najoud Amelise. Najoud, I'm going to start with you on this one. Are you going to be making popcorn at about 2 o'clock on Monday?
I'm sure, and I'll share with you as well. You know, you're just down on the other office on the other end of
we'll
the
meet in the middle.
Perfect. It is. I mean, we've been waiting to see this, right? The spring felt very bizarre. The 4 weeks where Parliament sat and there was no Pierre Poilievre, and then summer came along and he was quite quiet as he was working on winning his by-election. And so we've got a little bit of a taste of what Pierre Poilievre will bring back to Parliament over the last, say, week, where he's been out almost every single day making announcements, talking about housing, immigration, crime. And so I'm expecting that same energy to come to Parliament, and I'm super curious to see how the Prime Minister reacts to that, what he's like in terms of responding in question period, and in relation to that also, how the Liberal and Conservative caucuses behave in Parliament as well.
Yeah, Carl, talk to me a little bit about that, because decorum is sometimes, well, leaves a little to be desired in the House of Commons. I mean, we call it silly season, usually towards the end of a session. But do you think that both sides will be so riled up and so excited for this that we could see fireworks, or is it going to be a lunch bag letdown with everybody behaving here because of the situation we're in with the trade war with the United States and the seriousness of the situation? And, you know, frankly, people may be reading the room.
Yeah, both options are possible, and it really comes down to leadership and what message will the two leaders send to their troops, but also the speaker. We have a new speaker. We've never seen Pierre Poilievre in action. So, you know, there's this saying, there's never a second chance to make a first impression. Pierre Poilievre has got that chance now. He's got that opportunity because he's the new leader of the opposition to this new prime minister. And so before the by-election, there was a softer Pierre Poilievre, a little toned down, but since the by-election, he seems to pick it up a little notch. So we'll have to see which Pierre Poilievre shows up. Is it Pierre Poilievre that we know the Canadians rejected because they didn't like his tone, didn't like his approach? Or is there a Pierre Poilievre 2.0? Is there such a thing as Pierre Poilievre 2.0? That's what Canadians are going to look at on Monday.
Melanie, what do you think his strategy is? Because when everybody knows Pierre Poilievre, what they think of him is he made a lot of gains by using former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as a punching bag. So does he try that again, or does he come in as sort of more the leader in waiting?
Look, Pierre, no one's ever going to out-debate or outwit Pierre Poilievre. He's so quick on his feet. He naturally has this like Rolodex memory and of everything that's taken place. He knows his talking points and his message. The man's just a machine. So I fully expect him, and he also has a ton of energy. I fully expect him to come and bring that energy and be himself. I don't think that we're going to see some like dramatic transformation. He will very much still be Pierre Poilievre. And I think what will be interesting will be to see how the Prime Minister responds to him in question period. Is his team taking notes from, say, former Ontario Premier Dalton McGuinty? Are they watching back some of his question period performances to see how he would never take any bait whatsoever? He was very, some might say, boring in question period. He was super calm. He would only look at the speaker. He would not engage with the opposition at all. Is that perhaps a psychological tactic that we might see the prime minister deploy? I think I can't wait to watch. I will definitely be making popcorn in Belleville on Monday.
Sabrina, what do you think the prime minister does? Does he take the bait, or does he sort of, become the person who, as Melanie said, the old Dalton McGuinty? Because, something that I noticed of the prime minister, he's certainly more comfortable in public again. I mean, we have to look no further than, at that address to caucus where, I lost track with the number of sports references he used and kind of how he was joking about the country being in trouble because Connor McDavid, the star forward for the Edmonton Oilers, hadn't been signed yet. So I wonder, will his team say to him, no, you got to keep this between the lines and keep focused and don't take any of the bait? I mean, certainly they'll say don't take the bait, but what do we see from him? Somebody who will fight back, or somebody who tries to just be the prime minister and the adult in the room?
I think every signal that we've seen from Mark Carney so far since he began this journey is that he is the adult in the room. Not that he tries to be the adult in the room, not that he's looking to become that person. He is that person. I think he's commanded rooms very well. And I think, again, need not look further than his command of the premiers and those FPT meetings to see how well he is doing on that.
Yeah, but it's different, Sabrina. Sorry, Sabrina. I know you're about to make a point, but it's very different because Pierre Poilievre is extremely good, whether you agree with him or not, at poking his opposition right in the eye and standing there and smiling about it.
But I think Pierre Poilievre, if he was going to pivot, if we were going to see Pierre Poilievre 2.0, we should have seen that on the campaign trail. We're still seeing today Pierre Poilievre 1.0, and we're still seeing the same messages as that he had a year ago. So, what I think that, at best, is he going to update the bumper sticker slogans to tell us, some new tax that we're going to ask or whatever it might be for updated for 2025. But the messaging hasn't changed, and the messaging is what's not resonating. And so you can poke in the eye as much as you want, maybe on a personal basis, or try to needle nose your way in there. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a policy leg to stand on, what is it that you're bringing to the conversation, and what is it that people are taking away from that conversation besides toxicity? And people don't want that.
And Najoud, is the prime minister beating him to the punch with all these announcements? And we're also hearing that there could be something on housing coming before Monday. Is he trying to basically take away any argument and any sort of shot that, Pierre Poilievre may try and lob his way across the aisle?
Well, certainly you can already hear the Prime Minister standing up in the House of Commons and referencing the launch of the Federal Projects Office and other announcements that have been made or are going to be made. But I think the challenge for Mr. Carney will be to not seem dismissive when he responds to Pierre Poilievre, because just in reference to the comment about him behaving like the adult in the room, there have been moments where he's had to respond to something Pierre Poilievre has said or called for, and sometimes it almost feels like he wasn't really clued into the fact that Pierre Poilievre had a press conference and made an announcement or went after the temporary foreign worker program or this or that. And so while I can understand the argument of being the adult in the room, there's also a danger of seeming like you don't understand or feel the concerns that are being raised by Pierre Poilievre, which you already know are going to be about the cost of living, going to be housing, things that are very touchy for people.
Less than a minute. I'm going to try and split it between Carl and Melanie. Carl, respond to that and how maybe that, the Prime Minister has to sort of change his tact.
Probably he has. He's been taking some pages from the Conservative playbook in terms of policy, and that's pulling the rug out under Pierre Poilievre's feet. So the question is, what Pierre Poilievre do now? Does he move further to the right? That's how a country shifts to the right. That's what's happening right between our eyes. But that might not please progressive voters that didn't want that and didn't see it coming.
Melanie, last word to you.
Jail, not bail. That's a message that's going to resonate a lot this fall for many Canadians, and Pierre Poilievre has been dominating on the crime issue.
And Melanie has it ready to go.